Hello students, just wanted to explain the electrical part of this boiler a little bit. We have circuit breaker main switch. This is the circular control switch. This turns on the circulator pump to move it around. Obviously a transformer with R coming down going through what we call low water switch. This is the thermostat, the heat anticipator, and the high limit switch. So what happens is when we call, and then we have 24 volts going through sitting right here. So the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to send power through to this K1. This K1 is a relay that closed switches these two switches here. That those two switches, you'll see them close when I turn on the thermostat here in a second. And what'll happen is it'll power this little motor. This is a vent damper that's on top of the furnace. Let's see if we can show that. It's up here, the vent damper. It's the first thing to open up before any kind of ignition or anything else, because in order for it to open, it will send power to your ignition module over here. So what we have here is, let's turn this on, set the set point up a little bit, and you'll see that this green light, when that green light's on, means we have power to K1, which means these guys are switched. So I have power coming in through here, going to this motor. It takes about 30 seconds for this motor to open up. And when it does, these three switches move position, and it will send the power down through this unit here. So when this gets power coming through, you'll see this light will turn on here. It takes about 30 seconds. I got the time on 1 to 1 right now. And once this pops over, you will get power through this flame rollout switch. It's actually called a fusible link. And this is the block vent safety. This is a switch that's up on the venting. At that point, what you'll get is 24 volts at number 6. And C, which will, there you go right there, will be 24 volts at number 5. Between here and here, there's 24 volts. So once you get 24 volts there, it's going to go through, it's going to try and light the pilot, and it'll power this pilot valve. You'll get 24 volts between 2 and 3. And this is the pilot ignition switch. It will spark and light the pilot. This is a ground here, so you want to, that may be a check you want to do at one point, that this ground wire is intact. And then once the pilot ignition switch senses that the pilot is lit, then 1 and 2 are energized. 1 and 2 right there. So 1 and 2 are energized. There's 24 volts, and that's your main valve. If we look here, there's your main valve is on. So it's just sequence of operation. Don't worry too much about troubleshooting the vent damper, because there are no faults in the status to do that. But what you may want to do is make sure that the L1 and L2 lights are on. L1 means that you have power to the K1. L2 means you got power going at least through, maybe through these switches to number 6. And let's follow that power. R comes through this closed switch, through this set of switches, down, and comes to here. C, the other side of the transformer, comes across to number 5. That way you have power between 5 and 6. The other power, the only thing the thermostat does is sends power to this K1 to open up or power this motor, which is the motor that turns this vent damper. Right? That's a vent damper that turns, when it's off, it's in the horizontal. It stops any kind of flue gases from going up. When you send power to that motor, it turns 90 degrees, goes up and down, and hits what we call an end switch, and then obviously the ignition sequence starts. As you see, the different colors of red will mean how hot it is. So this is the hottest part, and then all the way down, and when you get orange, it means it's dissipating the heat, and then goes and gets heated up again. So it goes through a circulation like this. So there's a quick once-over on this. I would highly recommend that you would try and do some of your own faults